Hey, everybody, and welcome to Does It Resonate with You? The chat show, the woo woo chat show where we encourage you to take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. I'm Angie,
I'm John.
and I'm going through I don't know, I guess a revisit of, what my work looks like, what it's called. So you see Lasting Serenity kind of all over the place. I've been Lasting Serenity for a long time, but I've been given some advice to focus on my name because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true. Someday we're
And
gonna have to do a little chat just about the name.
well, I it's my husband's name, and he took it for himself. I can't tell you what his name used to be, or I'd have to kill you. That is the rule around here.
All right,
Um,
witness protection
but
program.
right, we've come up with that's not really it, but yes. We've come up with Angie, and it's ZXUH. You just say the letters, but I've come up with the ZXUH method.
Oh, this is good.
Zen
This is good.
expands to unlock healing.
Yes,
Zen expands to unlock healing. I'm very, very happy about that. So
I
I'm
like that
excited to
too.
see what that looks like. So you may see Lasting Serenity kind of fall away, but I'm really excited about the future.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to do a refit
yeah. It's a
just kind of
rebranding, and little businesses, big businesses do that all the time.
right.
Yep.
Thank goodness that one insurance company decided to get rid of that porn star and the emu.
Oh, okay.
Like a little bit of rebranding for that company is a good
Right.
one.
Like quick, right?
Right. Yeah, that should have never went on as long as it did.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Anyway, so that was kind of my major epiphany or whatever you want to call it for the week. I've had an interesting week and a great week. I'm actually coming tonight to the last piece of my final beta test of Empowered Chakra Reiki,
Hmm.
which I expect to be launched to the public sometime in April. I'm very
Okay.
excited about that because that is beneficial energy for each and every chakra to keep the physical body and the etheric body bridged together in a way that can create a vibrational match
Wow.
that will resolve vibrational mismatch, which is a big deal for people because vibrational mismatch, I feel, creates can fuel mental illness. It can fuel
Hmm.
anxiety. It can,
Hmm.
it can be a piece of a lot of things. It's not the be all end all, right? But it can really help. So that's what I'm up to. How about you, John? I know you've had a great week.
Holy cow, this week was just full of energy. I'm still buzzing from okay, so best thing that happened, I had a mediumship session with Val yesterday, and it was off the charts. Not only was this one of the best psychic sessions, it was one of the best experiences of my life. Now that sounds a little bit hyperbole, but it was outstanding in terms of who she brought forward, but even more was just the energy in this Zoom session just kept getting better and better and better. And by the end, we are laughing and giggling and like, wow, what just happened here? So it was outstanding.
So just so you know, in case, because I don't know if you said it in the beginning, that he's talking about Val, who was on the show last week.
Yes,
So
Valerie Wood.
Valerie Wood, yes,
Yeah.
and she is by far one of the most amazing readers. She's one of the very few readers that I will actually work with. I am
And
very picky, you
Angie
know
is
that.
picky.
Well, but I'm difficult to read for.
That's true. Oh, that's yeah. I guess that's yeah. Right.
I mean,
You're
I
right.
am difficult to read for because first of all, I have that underlying energy of truth. Like
Hmm.
I've
And
had
I mean, your
readings,
your aura's out here, right?
yeah,
And
right?
it kind of pushes people a little bit wonky when they don't know that.
Yeah, right, right. And actually, you know what I can do with my aura? Tailgaters? I
Oh,
can push them away, I swear. It works every single
oh my
time. Yep. I'm like, you're a little too close. And then I just imagine it getting bigger, and they literally back off every single time. So there you go. Have an
you
energy
know,
fight with me.
you know what? Okay, here, let me tell you something. This is weird. You know when you're when you're on the highway and you're trying to pass someone and they keep going faster and faster and you can't pass them.
Mm-hmm.
I tried an experiment one time while I was doing that. And I thought, okay, instead of putting out the energy of like, I need to be faster than you, the energy I put out was, we're just having a drive. We're just having a drive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did that, almost immediately those cars started pulling back and I could do the pass. I'm like,
it shifted your intention.
yes.
Yeah.
And I experienced that firsthand and I was like, whoa, this works. Right? It was really cool. So I do it every time now.
You know, if that would be a really interesting conversation for one of our episodes because you know, I think that a lot of people don't realize just how energetically they are moving through the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had people like, I've literally had people in stores try to get close to me because they're trying to read my energy. Now, you can't read my energy unless I let you. Like, that's me. I'm an energy master. It's what I've learned to do.
Yep.
So the idea of that, and here's another conversation for a show, energy vampires.
Oh, right.
Because I have a real specific take on what that's all about.
Right.
But there are people out there who your energy is attractive to them, and then there's salesmen, but we'll not talk about them at all. You know, your energy is really attractive to them, and whether it's conscious or subconscious,
right. Probably
they
not
are
conscious.
trying. Well, sometimes it is, but
okay.
Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's not. And then the truth is, you know who the worst energy vampires are? Usually family. Do you have a family member that you go, oh my God, you are exhausting?
Yes, I do.
That's an energy vampire.
Okay.
Right? Like they're not consciously doing it, but whatever it is about
they like my energy because it's yummy.
Right. Exactly right. So they create drama, they create connection to pull the energy from, you know. So that's why, like, it just doesn't work with me. But it's because I've done the work for so long to understand how to lock it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyway, so that's where we're at with that. But that's not really the topic for today. So
no, we could go on and on about that. I mean,
I know. I mean, and I think it is a good topic. So you know, that just, you know, it's what I do, right? Like it's what I love to teach people to do, because there's so many people out there who think that whatever happens to them energetically happens to them instead of happening because they allow it. Yes. Right. Yep. Like boundaries, boundaries are the difference between what you will and won't allow in your life. Right.
Mm-hmm. So right. That makes sense.
There you go. So that's, you know, where we're at with that. Anyway, I'm excited about talking about animals today because, you know, we've been thinking about this for a while.
Yeah,
and
it's come up a couple times just in passing.
There's some interesting stories that go along with that. So anyway, I see we have at least one person watching. So I want to say hi and thank you very much. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button or the bell that will notify you when there's new episodes, please do that, because we're trying to get to 100. We're almost a third of the way there. So, and if you wouldn't mind sharing it with your friends and asking them to subscribe as well, we'd really appreciate it. Anyway, okay. Totally. So, John, you did a little research on animals. So what did you learn?
Okay, so here's a book. It's called Dogs That Know When Their Owners Are Coming Home. At first, I want to talk about the author. It's Rupert Sheldrake. Rupert Sheldrake is a scientist from the UK. This guy is like renegade, crazy. I'll tell you why he's kind of ostracized for the science community in a minute. He has another book that I read years ago called The Presence of the Past. I could talk all hour about just that book. It's so amazing. So he is a scientist that uses the scientific method, but he never discounts energetic conclusions in the experiments. Uh-huh. So here's the premise of this book. Have you ever noticed, if you have a dog, that let's say you're home alone and the dog's home and your husband is coming home 5 minutes before he arrives, the dog starts getting up and pacing a little bit.
Well, not at my house, but it always went the other way. My
Okay.
husband doesn't care about the dog, but that, I mean, because when you actually said that, say the title again?
Dogs that know when their owners are coming home.
And my answer, my response to that is, don't they all? Because I think they all do.
Right. Well, he does say in the book
do.
that it's not universal. Not every dog does this, but it happens when you have a special bond with your dog.
Well,
so,
okay, so we're not even going to go there, because I could see what the dogs that wouldn't have that bond, and I don't like that. I don't want to have a conversation about that.
Okay.
So
all right.
that would make me sad, right?
Yeah.
Because the only reason you wouldn't have a bond like that with a dog is if you're
abused, or
yeah, or that they're a slave, which dogs are
okay.
not meant to be slaves, right?
Right.
Like they're meant to be
free.
They're meant to be babied.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of breeds of dog that really need to work. So I can see that. Anyway, let's not get too far off topic.
No. So here's the premise of the book. You've experienced that. I've experienced that.
Sure.
When I was a kid, my mom tells me that, so we would walk home from school. The bus would drop us off about a half mile away, and we'd walk, through a path to get to my street and come home. And my mom says that about 10 minutes before we got home, the dog would get up and start pacing and then stand on the chair, knowing we were about to come home.
Mm-hmm.
And we all thought it was because the dog sensed time, right? Oh, it must be time for them to come home. But then when we had a half day of school, the dog would do it too. And it was kind of like, right, it'd be like, wonder what's up with that. Well, Sheldrake noticed that, and he said, I bet there's something going on. And so he did a whole series of experiments with cameras and people taking notes and knowing what time they did such and such. So here's what's cool. One of the subjects in the book did an experiment. The husband left and came back, and they, timed about what time the dog started pacing around. Then he did it again in a different car. Then he did it again with a bicycle at different times, going in different directions. And every time the dog knew when he was coming home. And so he published this kind of as a little article, and he was just lambasted by other scientists saying, you're making it up. You're completely wrong. You've forgotten something. This can't possibly be happening because science says it can't. Therefore, you must be wrong. And on and on and on. He loves this kind of controversy because here's what he says. He says, in the scientific method, you craft the experiment, you create a hypothesis, you observe the evidence, and then you see what your conclusion is. And he says, you guys are discounting the evidence. You are not actually doing good science because you are discounting the evidence. And even though we have done double blind and all the right things to make the experiment, it's still something the scientists will refuse to acknowledge. And he's like, nope, you've discounted the fact that there's a spiritual or metaphysical connection with your dog.
There you go.
So I mean, the book is amazing. It's full of examples over and over and over again.
So here's the interesting place for me with that is like, that sounds like a great book for somebody that needs convincing.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And I don't need convincing.
No.
What I will say is that I remember, and this is on this vein, so I have another story about my little white dog, but I had a little white Bichon dog named Cece. And when I would go to work and my husband would be home, I would call him when I was, either on my way or 10 minutes away or whatever. And that dog, as soon as she heard that phone and he connected, she would start barking and go stand by the front door.
Wow.
How, like she doesn't talk on the phone. He didn't put me on speaker. She couldn't hear me, but she knew it was me. So it didn't matter what time of day it was. Cause I never, I wasn't a 9 to 5-er. I didn't come home the same time every day.
Yep.
Some days I might work till 2, some days I might work till 3, whatever. She always knew when I was coming home, and she'd always be there waiting for me. Always.
Yep. And if
Like,
someone else called him, the dog would
she
ignore it.
would, yeah, she would, yeah.
Yep.
He ignored her pretty much. She's not the world's biggest fan of dogs, but even if I didn't call, I would walk up, and we lived in a bottom floor apartment, so I would come into the patio door. She would, instead of being up on the sofa having a nap or whatever, she'd be at the door watching for me when I'm walking up. She always knew I was coming, always.
Yep.
So, and I had her. I got her in the year 2000. I had her until 2010, and then I didn't have a dog for a long time until Bentley. Now, what's interesting is Bentley always would be at the door waiting for me to come in. Like, he's at my house. So
Right.
I live in a house with a garage now. I park in the garage. And when he first started living with me, he'd always be at the garage door whining for me to come in. He knew that it was, he knew that I came in.
Right.
But now that he doesn't hear so well, he stays asleep usually. So, but he is not actually my dog. He's my son's dog.
Oh,
so my
interesting.
son,
Different energy.
Yes, I think so, because my son lives across the street, and in the winter, especially, he parks his work truck in our driveway because there's not room in their, in their driveway.
Sure. Yep.
So he parks his truck. So I noticed that when my son, we'll be sitting here, and Bentley will go up and he'll look out the window, and I'll be like, "What's he looking at?" And then I'll look out, and sure enough, my kid will have parked his truck. He doesn't always stop in because he's, going home, but Bentley always knows when my son has come home. So it's interesting that you say that about science too, because the scientists, they poo-poo it, right? They're good at that. That's present in the energy work world. That kind of mentality is totally present in the energy work world. There are Reiki snobs.
Oh, okay. Right. Yep.
There are, oh no, it can only be this way. Like,
right.
I am a traditional Usui Reiki master.
Right.
And all this other stuff.
I've only been trained by William Rand.
Yeah. Oh God, please don't say that name. Please. But it's true. I mean, obviously he resonates with a lot of people because he's made a S ton of money.
Right.
Forcing people to use his books and his methods. If that's what works for you, that's great. It's not what works for me. But again, does it resonate with you, right?
Right.
So, anyway, so back to the animals. A funny story, and then I'll let you go on.
All right.
Is it actually turns out that my little white dog was how do I put it? She is my guide.
Oh, cool.
So one of my guides came here to be with me in dog form before I stepped on the path of this journey.
Wow.
Yeah. So I lost her in 2010, and I was devastated. Like, I don't even know if I would have been as devastated losing my husband. I was that devastated.
Wow.
I would really.
Right.
But I mean, I was devastated.
There's a bond there though with a deer pet that just
is not this right. It's
right,
just, so I was devastated. But I didn't start really, moving on this journey until about 2015. So, and it was really funny because I had a reading with Val way back in the beginning, and she said, "What's with the dog?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then it was, over a little bit of time and over a few more readings where I sort of discovered, oh, check out this energy. Sure enough, I was like, oh, that's Silver. Silver was Cece the dog. But my guide is not a dog. My dog was a guide, if that makes sense. So,
and you're getting really
kind of like a familiar, right? Like a familiar.
Oh, yeah, right. Yep.
So anyway, so that's that. So what else did you learn?
Well, in this book, there's a section here where he talks about some dogs connect, when their owner is actually getting close to the house, right? And he says in here, The most extreme manifestation of telepathy would occur if the dogs were able to pick up on their owner's intention to return, and if they reacted when the owners were setting off, or even when they were getting ready to set off. So he takes one of the people in here wrote down. She was very meticulous about when she, not only when she left the office or wherever she was going to go home, she wrote down when she decided to go home. In a notebook, and her I believe husband or son back in the house would write down the time when the dog started prancing around, and they matched it up with her intention to leave.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Wow. I
Yep.
mean, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I mean, how many times do I tell you about the power of intention?
right there it is, right there.
Intention has an energy of its own, right?
Yep.
It's okay. For example, not about dogs, but I do Akashic record readings. And one of the things I'm looking for are patterns of choice and action that are needed to be cleared to create change, right? So, like, I will, in the course of a reading, tell somebody, you really need to stay away from the news, just as an example.
Sure.
You are a person that cannot really tolerate man's willful inhumanity to man, because there is a whole group of people that can't, like that the news is poison for. I'm literally one of them.
Say that one more time.
There is a whole soul group, Akashic archetype, if you will, of people for whom the news, and because the news is so heavy in man's willful inhumanity to man.
Oh my God, that resonated with me like chills.
Right?
Okay. Yes. Holy cow. I've never heard it said that way. That's amazing.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, we'll talk about that later. Stop. Sorry. That the news is toxic.
Yeah.
For them.
Yep.
Okay. So let's say I do the reading. Let's say the person signed up for the reading on Sunday and they scheduled to meet with me on Friday, because you can't schedule it for the same day because I need time to do the actual reading. Right? So they scheduled on Sunday. They scheduled to meet with me on Friday. I do the reading itself on Thursday, and then I meet with them on Friday to give them the results.
Yep.
So now the power of intention is they chose to do this work on Sunday. They set the intention to have this reading and to do this clearing work on Sunday. I get to them on Friday and I say, you really need to stop watching the news because you're of this particular archetype. And they go, that's really interesting, because on Monday that I decided to do that. and that's just one example.
Sure.
There's tons of times where I've said, you should start writing 500 words a day because, you're of this creative group. Just 500 words a day, whatever they are, blah, blah, whatever. Honest to God, I just started doing that on Tuesday. I hear it all the time. And it's the power of intention almost seems to supersede the timeline.
Right. It happens before. Yep.
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
It's so cool.
Can I give an example about that from this past week? So,
yes.
One of the things that's been popping up in my awareness is remote viewing as a metaphysical skill. I guess I'll call it. And I have a friend who's been encouraging me, saying, "Hey, I'm taking this remote viewing course. Would you like to take it too?" I'm like, I'm kind of busy. I want to get some other stuff done first. And it's been popping up on my, on the ads, of course.
Oh, yeah.
In my reading
No, go ahead.
In the reading from Val, she's going like, okay, your guides are asking you, I'm getting something about a remote reading course. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Right. But so it's come to me from a friend recommending it. It's coming to me through, the technology and the algorithms. And of course, that's all intertwined with the same concept. And then it comes directly from one of my guides through Val saying, are you going to take this course or not? Come on, buddy.
Right. Well, and so I'll say this, um, and you're right. I mean, that is what you're being guided to do. Val's reading the energy. It's present in your energy.
Right.
So what happens is when you're looking to manifest something, or when something is about to manifest, it manifests in your energy first. And then you find the situation, circumstance, or item to match it, right? A vibrational match. So, I mean, it was almost like, what do you want to call it? Inevitable?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Like, yep.
So yeah. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, those guides, they will like just start telling you stuff until, I mean, I have one that doesn't shut up until I do something.
Right.
Like, I am at choice and I could say no, but I know that if they're telling me something over and over again, it's something that is either going to be, it's mostly going to be beneficial for me, because I don't mess around in other people's energies without their permission.
Right.
Like, I'll never call you up and say, I have a message for you. I just don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I do it with Val, but that's different. I have her permission.
Well, and you have a bond. You have a
right. I have a bond, but I
connection.
also
Yep.
have her permission, right?
Yep.
Like, I don't do it rando, right? Like, but I just feel like if we could all learn to connect with the energy a little bit more, and connecting with the energy, that's what the dogs are doing. They're connecting with the energy of your intention, your presence, your aura, and everything else. If we all learn to do that a little bit more, we could all be kinder to each other. We could all be more powerful in where we stand, right? In our human experience. Because I think one of the problems, and again, this is an offshoot, but one of the problems with social media and the way people are so cruel to each other on social media is that you don't get any initial energetic response to the terrible things you might be saying. So,
whereas in person,
there you go.
That is mitigated by an energetic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so it's much easier to make a negative comment to somebody on social media because you don't get that immediate energetic response, right?
Yes.
Like if I were to say something hurtful, I'm not gonna, but if I were to say
Thanks,
something,
Angie, I appreciate that.
But if I were to say, let's say I were to say something thoughtless to you,
okay,
which can happen because I am a bull in a china shop. I get that. Like, but if I'm saying it to you in person, and this is where I have trouble with the messenger, me personally. Like if I don't see a smiley face or something, I can take things the wrong way. I'm really good at that, right? Like, which is, I try really hard not to, but whatever. But let's say I was to say something thoughtless to you that would hurt your feelings a little bit.
Okay.
I have the opportunity, if I'm saying it to you in person, to feel that shift in your energy and go, oh, wait, I went too far. Oh, right. Man, I'm so sorry. No, I didn't mean it that way.
Yeah.
Like, yep. I mean, I truly, honestly did not mean it that way. Like, yep. And I never do, like, but sometimes the truth is a little sticky with people, And because it's subjective, tends to be my version of the truth. Well, I mean,
what everybody does
me,
that.
What resonates with me, right?
Right.
But because so much is being done, via text and online, and you look at these strangers just killing each other.
They're going at it, like, yeah.
And it's like, you just can't. But no, we're all empaths. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's an empath.
Mm-hmm. They're all able to
some
pick
degree.
Up. Right. They're all able to pick it up.
Yep. Exactly. And so if you don't give yourself the opportunity to sense the energy or the consequence of your actions, then you're not giving your body and your ego the tools it needs to understand how to navigate through life in a kind, gracious, grateful, and joyful manner, right?
Yep.
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah.
I like that one. That was good. I like that. So does that make sense though? Right?
Yeah.
So, because dogs, I mean, if you think about it, we're talking about that connection. Like dogs react to your energy. That's why dogs make such great, service animals. I mean, dogs that can sense people who are about to have a seizure.
Right. That's in here too.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. And the whole thing about fear. I mean, so I was always told, oh, they smell the change in something about you when they
Oh,
see
like
that you're afraid.
pheromones or
Right,
something?
right, right. And again, there's been, I don't know if that's in the book, but there's been tests on that, and it's not always attributable to smell. It's energy.
Yeah, right. I mean, okay, so that's dogs. I mean, if you think about cats, cats can sense when people are going to die.
Hmm.
So what are they sensing? Maybe the presence of the angel of death?
A shift in their energy for sure.
Right, right. Well, or of the energy in the room. And if the
Yeah,
angel of death, whatever that looks like, right? I mean, could it be Andrew from Touched by an Angel? That'd be lovely because he is on the other side now. But and he very well might have been of that order, that escort people,
right.
right? So whatever that looks like for a person, but they could be sensing the presence of that.
I actually never
They
saw that show,
Oh, you didn't?
so I
I
knew
I
about
used
it.
I used to consider it church.
Right. So around that time, I had not started my spiritual journey, and it just seemed weird to me, and I didn't want any part of it. Now I'd be like all like I'd be all in. Who's the medium that does the sketching?
Tyler Henry,
Yes, yes, I've seen a
the
number of his.
scribbling, the
Yes, the
scribbling.
scribbling. Yep. I love those shows. Those are really good.
It's interesting. I used to love them a lot more than I do now.
Hmm.
Nah, I mean, I love Tyler Henry anyway, but I guess they're a little, oh, how do I put it? It's not surprising to me. It's again another one of those places I don't need to be convinced.
Right.
Like,
Right. Yep.
I am well aware that people can do that. So, like in the
Right.
beginning when I used to watch them, especially Lisa Williams was my first.
I like Lisa
I
Williams a
love her so
lot.
much,
I
and I've had
love
the
her. Yep.
opportunity to meet her too. So,
Mm.
um, but when I first started watching her, it was like, oh, look, that's so cool that people can do that.
Hmm.
Then I found out pretty much anybody can do it if
Right.
they work hard
If they
enough,
want, if they want to
and
work at
and,
it. Yep.
and I can do it.
Hmm.
Like, so then it's different. The truth is, though, if I really want to make a connection to someone, whether it's guides, teachers, angels, loved ones, whatever, I tend to want to go to someone else anyway
Hmm.
because it's different. The
Yes.
reading the energy is different when
Yep.
it's someone else.
Yep. I agree with that. When I do a tarot reading for myself, I get really good information. But when I do a tarot reading from someone else, it's like amplified 10 times. There's just
Right?
more
Because
detail and more. Yeah.
yeah, because they can see your blind spots,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I mean, that just is what it is. So,
Hey, we missed our.
yeah, I know. I was just looking for that. Here we go. It's time. Okay, so what are you plugging this week?
Okay. I am plugging tarotgeek.com. So I am John, the Tarot Geek. Tarotgeek.com is my website. And if you want a tarot reading from me, I would more than appreciate to go to the site. And there's an online tool there to schedule a reading with me. And I welcome any and all.
So, you got any special deals for the listeners?
If you
Throwing
go to
that
the
out there.
website, yes, right. Like put me on the spot here, right? If you go to the
Yeah,
website
sorry.
that's all right. You go to the website for the first time, you get a 50% off coupon. So if you want a 50% off coupon off your first reading, that's how you get it. If you've been there already, message me, send me a message, and I'll see if I can hook you up.
And they can get you on the Tarot Geek page, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, let me grab you a little link. So, and you're writing a book, the Woo Woo book, right?
Yes. woowoobook.com is the website for my book. And I'm encouraging people to go there to sign up. You'll get a free chapter of the book so you can kind of get a preview. I'm looking at about another month and a half, 2 months before it's published. And then that's all I'm going to talk about for weeks. So how about you, Angie? What are you promoting
I'm
this week?
sorry, I was trying to grab you a link, and do you want me to share a link to your group?
Sure. Yes.
I mean,
I will. No,
the
not today. Next time I'll have it ready.
okay. Well, I mean, I have the link.
Oh, if you have it,
I
then put it out
yeah,
there.
I
Yes.
have the link. I was trying to get the link from your page,
Okay.
but now you can find John. And if you want to join his group, it's all about tarot readings and exchanges and things like that.
Yep.
And John is going to he's doing monthly energy shares, card reading shares. It's really a great deal because it's only $3 to honor the space. So there you go.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, now from me. Well, next week, the 12th, which I am aware there's something going on, the Oscars or something, but I don't care. We are going to take a train ride to meet your guides and guardians. So it isn't quite yet listed on my Facebook page, but it will be. Go to Facebook at Lasting Serenity, find the Facebook page, and then, follow the page so you get the events. And as soon as that event is listed, we're going to take that train ride with Matthew, the conductor, and meet your guides, guardians, and angels. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. So that's my shameless plug for today. Also, please don't forget to go run over and subscribe to the channel. Does it resonate with you? Click that bell so that you get notified when we have episodes coming up. And if you wouldn't mind sharing the channel, we'd really appreciate it.
We're going for the gusto here. We want the full subscriber crowd following us.
Exactly. So there we go. All right. So that's it for shameless plugs for now.
Awesome.
Thank you.
What else are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to pull these angels in now, which I think is kind of fascinating.
Yep. And this is your wheelhouse, Angie. So I'm
I mean, yes, but I definitely have a different way of looking at it than, some, but it's all good. So today we want to talk a little bit about Michael and Metatron and Gabriel. So the Archangels, Michael, Archangel Metatron, and Archangel Gabriel. If you spend any kind of time at all with Radley Valentine, you kind of hear about the angels a lot.
For sure. That's his thing too.
Yes, it totally is. So Archangel Michael, I think, is one of the most familiar, I suppose. And Archangel Michael is all about protection and about protecting your energy, about, just protecting yourself, even your physical, your human physical body.
Mm-hmm.
Archangel Michael is the one that you could call on. I love this exercise. Let's say you're going into a grocery store and you're sensitive to the energy of a grocery store. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, in my endeavors as a sponge for negative energy, I wouldn't step a foot in a grocery store on Saturday morning. I just wouldn't, because I couldn't handle it. Like I could not.
Rush people. Is that?
Yeah, the people, the energy, it was just too much.
Okay.
I totally can do it now, but I couldn't. But if you have to go somewhere where the energy is either heavy or frenetic or too much, you can invite Archangel Michael to put a cloak around you.
Ooh.
To sort of temper that energy and make that energy easier to handle. There's a lot of things people do. They put themselves in bubbles. My issue is with that personally, as an energy master and somebody who works with energy. That is amazing. It works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not even saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying that you should begin to learn how to control your own energy so that protection comes from within rather than needing some kind of energetic mechanism from an outside source.
Okay.
Because I've heard stories. I mean, I remember hearing somebody say one time, well, I went to work and I forgot to put up my bubble. And then I came home and I was exhausted and I was miserable. And I'm like, which, right? Okay. Which you can see it happening, right?
Yeah, I can.
But they become so reliant on these mechanisms that they forget they're in control, right? This is not happening to you. This is happening because you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to use Archangel Michael and his cloak as a boundary to keep the energy from interacting with yours in a way that's dissonant or uncomfortable, do that.
By all means, yeah.
Right? And then another thing that Archangel Michael is really good for, and I love when you listen to Radley and he talks about cutting the energetic connections to other things. A lot of people don't think about, they think about cutting cords or cutting energetic connections to other people. But did you know that you can cut cords to things? You can cut cords to places. You can cut cords to situations. You can cut cords to bad habits. You can cut cords to a lot of things. So, with the focused intention of cord cutting, which I have actually a guide who does an amazing cord cutting session, but that's not about today. We'll talk about her some other time.
All right.
Yeah. So we will talk about her some other time. When I put together a session, we'll talk about her in shameless plugs. There you go.
Oh, cool.
For general, just energetic hygiene, because a lot of people don't realize that the importance of just good energy hygiene. Having Archangel Michael come in and cut the cords and connections that you have made through the course of your day-to-day life is a really great idea at the end of the day. I mean,
you think that's something you do daily then?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you work a dirty job, you go in and take a shower every night before you get in bed, right?
All
like
right.
If you make this a habit.
Okay, that's interesting. I've always heard it like, someone schedules a special session that maybe only happens once a year.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, now that is not to say that you shouldn't do that special session.
Okay, all right. So
to
that
get
there's
things
room
that
for
are,
both.
Yes, absolutely. Because first of all, you mostly can only cut cords that are sort of in your awareness, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you work with somebody like an energy worker who can do an assessment of your energy and can connect to things that are present, like limiting beliefs and, that kind of thing, that's a different kind of cord cutting session than just your general, like everyday energy hygiene,
right.
Which when you listen to Radley Valentine, and I love this, he says Archangel Michael comes with his silver sword. I think the way he puts it is this great silver sword of light. And he cuts on the right and the left and the front and the back and the top and the bottom.
I can hear him
really
say that.
completely, right, sever all the connections that you have made in this moment that are available for healing and release. However he puts it.
Right.
So that is something you can totally do all on your own. Yeah, right. That's awesome. Okay, so there's something else, and it's how the cards like we did a review of this deck.
Yep.
Archangel.
Archangel
Michael, Sword of Light.
Yep.
So I'm just because I am who I am and I do what I do. If you take and go through this deck, and you could do it with any tarot deck that's got the archangels on it. Like, there are other archangel decks that have, and I've done it with Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light deck.
Yeah.
So on these decks, right, you have like here, a representation of Michael, representation of Michael, representation of Michael.
It's very diverse.
Right. But you find these representations of Michael. So now you take these representations, find 5 or 6, 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 which is it? Either one, whatever works for you. Okay. And put them in a, like a wheel pattern on the floor.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
With one in front, you could find 12 and put them like a clock.
Right, clock, yep.
And make a circle with the cards so that they're like, like this.
Yeah.
Right? Sit in the middle.
Ooh, okay.
Just sit in the middle and set the intention to connect with the energy. And in this case, it would be all Archangel Michael,
right.
Archangel Michael, that is surrounding you with the intention of cutting the cords above, below, left, right, front, back. I'm telling you, you're welcome. That's what I'm going to say.
All right.
You're welcome.
That's on my list. That's awesome. Wow. I've never heard that before.
You can do that with, like the Archangel Power deck has got all the angels.
Yep. There it is.
You can pull out, I've done literal, like when I do, and it's been a while, really since before COVID.
Yeah.
I do live meditations, in-person meditations, which I really hope to get back to. And they're crystal meditations. So I grid the room with like some pretty wicked awesome crystals, but they're all pretty wicked awesome.
Yes, they are.
Not just mine, but crystals in general. But I have done like the Archangel meditation where I've got crystals, and then I set out a grid with the cards as well. Those cards connect to the energy of the individual angels. And then if you invite that energy to fill the room, to emanate into the room, the people have an amazing experience that just is kind of mind-boggling. Like it's just paper and ink, right?
Mm-hmm.
But through the power of intention, like we were
that's
talking
the key.
about, you're connecting to the energy of the angels. So try it and then let me know how it goes.
Right. We should do a session on that sometime.
Yeah, we should totally. Like I could actually we could. All of a sudden got very dry. What I wanted to say is that there's a lot out there about the archangels. One of the first things I heard about the archangels was a ritual to invite the archangels into your home. Like an actual ritual, and it was a 9-day thing. Somebody was explaining it to me, and it was, well, for 9 days. I don't remember exactly, but let's just say for 9 days you light a white candle and you put out a flower and you put the flower in water and you set it in a certain place in your house, and then I do remember, and at the end of the 9 days you put out an apple.
That sounds like a one of the magic rituals.
Yeah, well, it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it's ridiculous.
Yes.
First of all, archangels don't eat apples.
How about the energy of an apple?
Okay, whatever. This is what I said. No, I'm going to invite you to guess what you think I said. What was my response to that?
I call BS on that.
No. Can't you just ask them to come in?
Oh, right. It's the intention. Well,
yes, you can. So, I mean, I believe there's a place for ritual.
Yeah.
I really do. I believe that if you have a ritual in the morning, of setting intentions, of connecting to gratitude, I believe those rituals are important.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about that. The ritual is part of why it works, because it's the tracks in the energy.
But angels are energetic consciousness.
True.
So all you need to do is believe that you can speak with them and you can invite them in. That's it. I'm sorry, but that's
Pretty simple.
Now, there are like angel prescriptions because different angels do different things. And so maybe you want to work with different angels for different things. So to me, that's different than a ritual of just inviting them in. If you want them to come in, just say come in. I swear, like that's how it works. But we'll move on now because we want to mention Metatron.
Right. And
we also want to mention Gabriel.
Right.
And I love the combination of the three of these.
Three amigos.
Three amigos. Like if you take this combination, you've got Archangel Michael. Let's say we want to go for a meditation. Okay. Right? Let's say we want to go for a meditation and we want to do an Archangel meditation. We're going to sit and we're going to, first thing I want you to do when it comes to something like this is I want you to get the idea that you have to quiet your mind out of your mind. Like, forget about that. Just forget about that. Use the connection that you're going to make with the angels to distract your ego so that you can connect to the energy of what it is that you want to happen, right? That's what I teach people to do. Who can quiet their freaking mind and get it to say nothing? Come on now, right? Like, well, no, there are people that can.
Yes, absolutely.
There are people that can. I don't want to. That's all.
Fair enough.
Right? And I don't have to. But you want to set yourself up for an Archangel meditation. So you close your eyes, you settle in, you really want to connect to your breath, and you want to set the intention that you're in a safe and sacred container, right, from which to do the work. Because not that you have anything to worry about, but you want to be mindful of your energy, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe there's evil entities out there that are going to come and try and get you in a meditation. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
But you still want to be able to be a little bit vulnerable. And so you need to be safe for that. And you want to be able to connect to those on the other side. So you need sacred,
Mm-hmm.
right? So safe and sacred container from which to do the work. And then you invite Archangel Michael not only to protect you, but to clear the energies that would be getting in the way of whatever communication and connection you want to make, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then we call in Metatron. Metatron and Metatron's cube, right? You've seen
Oh yeah, I love that
Metatron's
shape.
cube,
Yep.
right?
Also
Like,
known as a uh-oh.
yeah, right. Gone. It's gone. We'll get it. We'll get it. He'll look it up while I'm talking. Um, it is a piece of sacred geometry, and sacred geometry and meditation go very, very well together. In fact, if you print Metatron's cube on a piece of material that you can iron onto a cushion, you could sit on Metatron's cube while you're meditating, and it's an amplifier. Okay.
Cool.
So we call in Metatron, because also don't forget Metatron was at one time human, to really be the bridge between the human, the physical, and the etheric. He's really helpful for that. He's helpful for time management. He's got a lot of other jobs as well, but really great at bridging the physical and the etheric, right?
Can I tell my funny Metatron story?
Yes. I mean, I haven't gotten to Gabriel yet, but yes.
Okay. Real quick. So from church, from my upbringing, I knew Gabriel and Michael because they're in the Bible.
Oh, that shows you how much I've read the Bible.
Well, that's part of my upbringing. That's
No. I'm
So-
glad. That means you can tell me stuff.
right. Here's the funny thing. The first time I heard someone talking about Metatron, I had entered a conversation that was already going on, and I'm listening, and they're talking about Metatron. I'm thinking like, oh, they're talking about the Transformers, you know? So you've got Optimus Prime
And Metatron.
And I'm like,
Bumblebee.
Like-
Metatron actually likes that idea.
does he really? Okay.
Yeah, because he's a time bender, right? Like Metatron bends time. Metatron is real. If you are late, call on Metatron. I am not kidding. Call on Metatron. Yeah, he really likes that idea. he likes that.
We'll do our own animated series of
Wouldn't
Optimus
that be
Prime and
something?
Metatron.
Yeah, right. Or just Transformer Archangel Transformers.
Oh my God, that would be
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Wow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Wow, that would.
I'm just here to tell you, not one of them is a Tesla, but that's all I'm saying. Although Nikola is not real happy with Elon at the moment either. So I do have conversations with Nikola Tesla every now and again as well. Because why not? It's fun.
That guy's amazing.
I know, right?
I mean,
anyway.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah, right. For just as a human being,
Yep.
right? Like he's another one that we could have a very interesting conversation about. And he is a great example, of the power of intention and how negative intention can squash the light, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, but I want to get through this for the folks that are listening so they can do this maybe if they want to.
Okay.
So, safe and sacred container, set your intention, set your neutral state, whatever that looks like for you. Ask Michael, to bring in the protection and clear the energy that no longer serves. Right? Cut connections to that which no longer serves. And then Metatron, you bring him in to bridge the physical and the etheric, which is meaning what you're really doing is connecting your physical body to your soul. Right? And now, Gabriel, the Archangel of communication, right? What do you need to know from the universe? Now, while I object to somebody asking me to do a reading for them, what do I need to know? It's just too wide open, right? Like, right. It's just too wide open. Trying to dial in the energy of that kind of question is just really hard. And if anybody tells you that it's not, they're not entirely truthful. It's just, it just depends on what you want. Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that do those readings,
Right. I
but if you
always
want really, really good information, that is not the way to get it.
Right.
Let me put it that way. Okay. Anyway, now, so we're sitting in, I don't like timers for meditation either. So give yourself, sit and do this when you have time to do it. Maybe it'll take 10 minutes. Maybe it'll take a half an hour.
Right.
Maybe it'll be an hour. I don't know. But don't, to me, the worst thing when you are starting to establish a channeled connection, because that's what you're doing,
Right.
is to jar yourself out of it
Right.
with timer.
Bing.
It's the worst thing to do. It's the worst
Bing.
thing to
Time
do.
to go.
Because what happens is that would be the last Pavlovian response you'd want to create, right?
True.
What you want to create is a Pavlovian response that says, okay, oh, look, I'm listening to this piece of music while I decided to do this.
Mm.
And then you listen to this piece, the same one every time. Every time you turn that on, you get closer and closer to the space where your body says, oh, listen to this music. It's time to check out and connect. So it's automatic.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yep.
there are pieces of music that I can't play when I'm working on someone because I check out. Right?
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm gone.
I mean,
I'm still running
brain
energy.
says that's
but
the meditation sign.
exactly
let's do it.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd really be interested to hear if anybody that's listening tries this out, because I think it would be a lot of fun to hear your experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, the angels have a lot to tell you, right?
Yep.
No matter what it is, if you're struggling with something, or if you're trying to create something, I mean, Gabriel, all about creation and channeling, and maybe you want to learn to channel. Gabriel's the one you want to work with. Maybe when you set yourself into this, you want to put your fingers on the keyboard and start typing, or grab a pen and start writing and just
Automatic
see what
writing.
comes through.
Yep.
Because what you're doing then is you're starting to oil that connection, right? Like
getting your ego out of the way and let it just come.
Right. And I mean, that's what it's all about, right? The ego is the thing that puts the thoughts in your head, right? The ego is like, oh, you're getting kind of close to making some kind of a connection I don't understand.
Right.
And
not
so
allowing that today.
Here, let me throw the electric bill your way, or let me, you know what I mean? Like, let me,
Right.
so if you can do something, music, the binaural music, or with your fingers, with your hands, to distract your brain, the information that comes through can be infinitely easier to acquire, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Anyway, well, now that I hoarded that whole segment for myself, sorry.
Well, I told you
that.
I was gonna learn from you in that segment, and I definitely did. Merkaba is the name of that.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That is it. That is some serious energy right there. And in fact, when you so that is in the group of platonic solids.
Okay.
Which is the sphere and the Merkaba, whatever. And then the triptych, the like two pyramids that are like
intertwined.
You have to look up. You have to look up platonic solids. But
okay.
One time I did a meditation that was so wicked cool. And it was, you imagine, so you took two pyramids, but instead of putting the bases together, you put the points together.
Okay.
So you visualize the points together, and the 2 points begin at your solar plexus. So a pyramid down this way and up this way, with the point meeting at your solar plexus. And just allow the energy of the pyramids in that moment both to encompass the etheric connection, right? Ooh. And the earth connection.
Yeah, it's at the meeting point right there.
Right in the center. And the solar plexus is all about your power, right? It's all about your mental power, your willpower, your personal power. It's all about power. So it's the power center. So you start by the tips of those pyramids coming together at the solar plexus. Just sit in the energy of that for, however long you're guided, really. And then as you do that, visualize and feel those two pyramids coming together to form that Merkaba. right? Because
Oh, they're
that's kind of what the
slowly,
Merkaba really is,
they're
right?
slowly, yes, blending into each other.
Exactly. And then the
Ooh,
next thing you
okay.
know, you're part of the cube. You know, it's not really a cube, but you're part. Well, Metatron's cube, right? Like,
Yep.
so yeah. So I mean, I love nothing more than playing with energy. There's so many things you can do. Like, you know, you can take a ride on a flying carpet. You could actually visualize a pyramid and the sides falling away. Sit inside and
Mm.
let the sides close up around you. There's nothing like sitting inside of a pyramid. Anyway, we've already got to 4 o'clock. It's a
And
little after,
it's
and
like we just started.
I know, and I could talk about energy forever. So, wow. All right. Well,
Can we wrap up with a couple card pulls?
absolutely. For
All
some
right.
reason, I'm hearing that we're not going to use that. I'm not going to do the Oracle deck though today.
Well, maybe maybe I know why, because I'm
You're
sending out
pulling
some
it
energy.
from that one.
So
This one's a little different, but let's go for it. Go ahead, John.
so this arrived in the mail today or yesterday. This is called Grimalkin's Curious Cat Tarot. And because we're doing an animal theme today,
I think that's a great idea.
I just opened this deck before we started the show. So this is all brand new. And usually what happens to me when I do a brand new deck, I pull the tower because decks like to do that to me. So we're going to see if that's happening today. Oh, hey, wow, look at this. The card is the World.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Even better than the tower.
Right.
Well,
the
I
World
guess
is one
I
of
don't
my
really
favorite
know.
cards. It's like it's the card of completion. The world is your oyster, manifestation. It's about bringing to you the thing. Yeah, it's manifestation and bringing things to you.
Wow.
I'm going to pull this out real quick here. Finally, you have found success. It's time to stretch out and give a nice big yawn that comes from surrendering a situation or event to the past and allowing yourself to revel in an accomplishment. So there you go.
All right.
That was fun. And I had a nice cute kitty on it.
Okay. I am pulling from Alana Fairchild's Sacred Rebels deck.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, this is a really great deck. Hopefully the words aren't too small because I don't see glasses here. I guess probably easier. So I'm looking at this, right, which is the backside. Probably easier to see the message if you flip it over. Just saying. Wow, look at this. Spirals of manifestation. So I mean, that's literally what I was just talking about, right? Like,
and what my card just said.
Yeah. So, I mean, we brought it all together at the end. We've given you everything you need in this show, if you watch it from beginning to end, to start manifesting things for yourself. Spirals of manifestation. Whatever it is that you want, go into that meditation, clear it out with Archangel Michael, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then start working with Metatron on time management and, bridging the physical and the etheric to start making it so that you align with what it is. So really, oh my gosh, of course, this is my tagline: visualize, align, surrender.
Wow.
Right? Visualize what you want, align with it through intention and meditation, and then surrender to the process. Spirals of meditation. Man, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, right?
No, this is good.
You just can't make this stuff up. Okay, so the end of another amazing episode. I had a really great time. Listen, you all. When you listen, if you do any of these things, please reach out or drop a comment on the channel.
Yep.
So that we know that you've that you've tried these things.
Yeah, and that it resonated with you.
That it resonated with you. And if it didn't work for you, I want to hear that too. Like, it's always good to know maybe there's ways to tweak it that it will. I know that my method doesn't work for everybody. I know it doesn't, but that's okay because it works for a lot of people. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks again, John. This was great. Like, as
wonderful.
always.
Yep. Great episode.
I had a really great time. We will see you next week, although at the moment it's up in the air of the time. We're going to be shifting the time from Fridays because Fridays have gotten difficult to go live. So there is another option. We'll discuss it, but we'll let y'all know. We'll keep you in the loop. And
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Angie.
I'm John.
And we'll see you next week.